So I'm going to be talking about the Milgram experiment, Stanford prison experiment, and Abu Ghraib. So basically from the Milgram experiment, we learned quite a bit of psychological information about how people act. One of which is that people will listen to other people's orders just if they appear to have higher authority, whether it's based on the way that they dress or just the way that they act. Like in the Milgram experiment, the doctor or professor that was controlling the experiment, that was in the white lab coat, he would say, you need to continue the experiment, even if the person who was giving the shocks to the man on the other side of the wall wasn't responding at a certain point. You could tell that they felt hesitant about just using more and more shock. So the man in the lab coat would say, keep going, it's part of the experiment. So that seemed to pressure the people that were doing the experiment into going farther and farther, even though you could tell they didn't exactly feel 100% right about doing it. It was almost as if they were being reassured, sort of like if somebody else could take the blame for them if they really were hurt from all of the high voltage. So basically from that experiment we learned that people with high authority really have control over other people. And in the Stanford prison experiment, it was almost the exact same thing that appeared to happen, that people with high authority had more control. Basically, we learned that people will act differently when they are given a position of authority. So this is similar to the Milgram experiment because the prison guards, they would punish the prisoners because that's what they felt that they should do. They were given this job by the psychology professor that they would be paid to act like prison guards. So by dressing them up just like a prison guard would dress and giving them the right to act the way they wanted to, that made them really act vicious and do cruel things to the prisoners. And so that just proves that, again, if somebody reassures to you that something is okay, or that you can just do something and it's only part of an experiment, that they will keep doing it, that they'll keep pushing and pushing because they have authority and they think that it's okay to do that. So for Abu Ghraib, the prison guards in that prison, they actually acted similar to the Stanford prison guards. They would harass the prisoners and they took advantage of them, punished them, and they would do that even if it went against their religious beliefs. And it seemed like they didn't feel any guilt because it seemed like they thought that it was their job to humiliate the prisoners and just keep pushing and pushing. And it seemed like, based on the Stanford experiment and then Abu Ghraib, it seems like somebody who's in a uniform, giving them the power of having the uniform, giving them the authority, makes them think that they have the right to harass somebody or punish somebody or go to that extent to make somebody feel worthless and very just not safe at all. And so basically the uniform means that people feel like they have more power, and you could tell that people felt like the people in uniforms had more power based on the way that they reacted. And to prevent events like Abu Ghraib to happen again, we need to do psychological tests on the guards and get feedback from other prisoners, because you need to know what's happening in the prisons, you need to know how the guards are acting. No matter what authority they have, it's going against somebody's religious beliefs, and that's not okay. So you need to do psychological tests on the guards to make sure that they won't act out in the wrong way in certain situations.